So, officially welcome, Sally and John. Welcome back to the Zoom room. So yeah, let's go into a meditation, because both of you potentially have time limits today. So we'll do a meditation on today's lesson, and then we'll go into looking at the quote and the lesson itself after that. And you can stay for as long as you can. So just making yourself comfortable. Sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, back straight, cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes, and start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, and subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. And pause. Top of the inhale, just scan your mind. So noticing any thoughts, any emotions going on for you, particularly anything that feels at all negative or limiting, contracted, constricting in any way. And you breathe into that feeling, that emotion, that sensation in the body. And the breath brings in spacious awareness, a spacious awareness arising in the mind. Observe any thoughts, any emotions from this perspective of spacious awareness. And if there's anything that is at all disturbing, invite the presence of love to come in today's lesson. So into perfect love's presence would I enter now. Another way of phrasing that would be I choose to enter perfect love's presence. I allow this presence to come into my mind, to bring me peace and happiness and maybe even a touch of joy. Breathe all of that in again. Imagine you breathing it into every pore of your body, every cell, every muscle, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being is in the light of true awareness. Invite this presence in. It's infusing every cell, every pore, every muscle, part of your mind, every fiber of your being infused with the presence of holiness, love's presence, in which no darkness or limited awareness can continue. So we exhale, blowing it all out with the breeze of your breath into the nothingness that it really is. Going, gone away, blown away with the breeze of your breath. So find a peace and a stillness at the bottom of the exhale. Sink into this presence of perfect love. into perfect love's presence would I enter now? With that statement of intent, just to surrender into this presence, going deeper and deeper to this presence with each breath. So just watch your breath and observe the breath flowing into the nostrils and the breath flowing out of the nostrils. And the stomach rising and stomach falling. So nowhere else to go really, and nothing else to do, nothing else to think about, just breathe, relax, be still, and sink into the presence of love, the presence of God. For the next few minutes of deep silence, just observe your breath to help you stay present. Presence only comes in the present moment, so if you're thinking about past or future, by definition you're not present. How can you have presence in the mind if you're not present? Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, and be still. Surrender into the stillness. It's been called many things: the grounded being, eternal reality, the kingdom of heaven, nirvana. Doesn't matter what you call it, just allow yourself to experience it now. Give the invitation for this presence to arise by saying, into perfect love's presence would I enter now? Choose to enter this presence now. And allow it to arise in your mind. Bless and heal your mind with its enlightened perception. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about for the next few minutes. Just breathe, observe the breath flowing in and out through the nostrils, relax, be still, and enter into love's presence for the next few minutes of deep silence. So if any thoughts arise, observe them casually. Remind yourself that really all you want is the presence. This deep, connected presence of love. Anything else, therefore, is unwanted, unneeded, superfluous, an illusion. So, into love's presence would I enter now? And then that intention just blow away. Blow it all away with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness that really is. Almost coming into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And rest in deep stillness and deep presence of love. Another few minutes of deep silence. Just enter into the presence. It's loving presence. Allow it. Into your mind, to your heart. Allow it to rest there. Quietness and peace and stillness. Another couple of minutes of deep silence. Bring yourself back from this very deep connected state. Just slowly become aware of your sense perceptions again. Through the senses, the world. As you come back on the count of 3, you remain connected to this deeper presence. It hasn't really left you ever. It's the underlying awareness without which you would have no existence at all. Primordial awareness, grounded being, God, kingdom of heaven, nirvana. These are all just pointers to this ineffable presence. It cannot really be named. So, on the count of 1, just breathe in and notice the stomach rise and the chest rise and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Draw the energy up your spine to the crown of your head, pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. Notice any thoughts, any emotions, any sensations going on. Anything that feels negative, limiting, contracted, and restricted in any way. And just breathe into that. Remind yourself into love's presence. You want to enter now. Saying, I choose love's presence now. So let that presence just blow away. All these dark clouds of illusion. Find the light instead. Let the light of your source shine through your mind. Exhale. You blow the clouds away. Feel this empty, open, expansive awareness. So exhale, notice the air flowing out, chest and the stomach suck back in. And the energy subsiding back down from the crown of your head, down the front channel of your body, coming to rest in your lower stomach and your groin. On the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling, your hands touching. Maybe there's a subtle taste. The mouth. Notice what you're hearing. Noticing all these sense perceptions from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind. You rest in this presence, and you, whatever experiences you have, don't really matter. You remain rooted in this presence, no matter what seems to happen in this world. This is the art of enlightenment, the art of letting go. So observe also what you smelling, tasting, touching. Notice what you hearing. Just observe these things without judgment, without interpretation. See that just observe all of this and stay rooted in presence. The presence of love doesn't judge anything, it simply is aware. It's pure formless awareness of perfect love. It's simply aware of itself. It's whole, complete, perfect. As said, so just you're just going to stay rooted in this the open, calm, expansive state for the rest of the session in the afternoon and evening. So on I count to 3, you're going to open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, observe the various objects in the room around you. In this very still, calm, and connected way, without judgment. They're all the same. They're just that the underlying peace, the awareness that you have underlies everything you see. So it doesn't matter whether it's a wall or a body or a fly or a mobile phone, whatever your eyes happen to rest on. Just notice that this underlying awareness is there. And just in noticing it, you're entering into its presence. Presence is obscured if your mind gets involved in. Starts thinking a lot, and to judge and name and label everything, and yet you don't have to do that. So hopefully this meditation, the lesson, and the exercises helped you to have a little glimpse of, a little taste of beauty, peace of this presence that today's lesson and quote refer to. So that brings us to the end of the meditation. Window. All right. So, should we come back? Okay, so shall we have a little read of today's quote, and we've got a little bit of teaching, which actually I'll talk about that mostly. It's my own experience, and then we'll go into the lesson. So, Sally, do you want to read the quote?
If you are in a state of intense presence, you are free of thought, yet highly alert. If your conscious attention sinks below a certain level, thought rushes in and the mental noise returns, stillness is lost and you're back in time. By Eckhart Tolle.
Any thoughts on that?
Intense presence. Yeah, I hadn't really heard it described like that. Yeah, no, I was pondering the intensity of it all. Yeah, I used to think of it just as nowness. But just recently I've had more relationship with the silence, that the silence is more intense than I realized it was.
You're free of thought, so the intensity is kind of strange because you think, how can being free of thought be intense? But it is actually experienced that way.
Yeah, it's very dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, which is again interesting because it's pure formless awareness. Nothing changes there, but there's a feeling of something there, and that something. Yeah, it's a shift. It's a transformation in your mind because you're shifting from mental noise to that stillness. So, you say it's dynamic because there's an experience of shift and change from the existing status quo. Ultimately, you're moving into a state that's timeless. It doesn't change at all. But in the transformation, it can feel very changeable. That there is a great shift happening as you unwind your mind.
It just happens, doesn't it? You suddenly just realize, oh, I'm not thinking. Of course, then you're thinking because you thought I'm not thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like suddenly it just happened. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's referring to. A state of intense presence. You're free of thought, yet highly alert. So you're aware, but there's no conscious thought. You're not thinking about anyone or anything. There's no subject object dualistic type thoughts. It's just awareness or consciousness. Would be how Eckhart expresses it. We call it awareness. It's just an awareness. It is an awareness of that which can't really be named, and that's arising quite intensely in your experience, and then you're free of thought in that moment. Your thoughts come back in, then thought rushes in, there's mental noise returns, stillness is lost, and you're back in time. So the world is always trying to take you back into time, to take you away from the eternal now, get you to think lots of thoughts, keep your mind busy, because that's really just a cover over this pure formless awareness, which is true reality.
Okay.
Okay.
Today's inspirational quote by Eckhart Tolle talks about being in a state of what he calls presence, in which there's no conscious thought, but you're extremely alert or aware. This is a state in which the pure formless awareness that is known as your mind's base state and true nature is also being called God in many religions and the ground of being by some philosophers. Occupies your mind entirely, and there's no room for other dualistic thoughts about what's apparently happened, happening, or expected to happen in time and space.
Okay. Thoughts on that?
Quite ironic, isn't it? What thoughts have you got on that?
Yeah.
Nothing. No thought. Yeah, I don't know where I am with that. I've recently had a client who's trapped in her mind, literally, and I was talking to her and just trying to work out, well, where am I, and have I ever experienced what she's experienced, and then how can I bring her from this trapped, really, really trapped situation into what I'm experiencing. That was my only thought.
Yeah. Stillness is often the way. So Ramana is a great Indian sage. I might have mentioned him before. He just really taught through stillness mainly. He said just sit in stillness, because in the stillness there all your answers are. So he often didn't say very much. And if he said something, he didn't go into long discourses. He would just ask someone if they told him this story and were asking for some guidance. He'd just say, who suffers? Who's the person who suffers? Who thinks? Who suffers? It's direct inquiry to show the illusory nature of the thinker and the doer. This is who suffers, the thinker and the doer. But if the thinker and the doer are not real, then how can you suffer? Not really possible.
Yeah.
So as a foundation, the interesting thing with the Course is he doesn't just say, okay, we'll just be still. There's parts like, say, Vipassana, we'll talk about further just now, that really they don't engage in much mind training other than stilling your mind. That's it. The whole technique is to still your mind. You do the Vipassana technique, breath and body awareness, just to remain in the still, calm, quiet energy. And I found that it's very helpful, but I think having some kind of teaching to explain it, as we do with the Course and other paths also, is also very helpful. I think if you just did 25 years of Vipassana, which the teacher I had done, like a lot of Vipassana meditation, 5-6 hours a day, and long retreats, 20 days, 30 days, 60 days of just meditating all the time. Yet I felt there was something missing in her. She wasn't clear. I said, well, what do you think about God? And she said, I think there's only what is impermanent, or anicca, call them Buddhist teaching. Only what's impermanent. That's the only thing that there is. Which means that she's missing the whole point, because that's the illusion of what she thinks it is. But actually the truth is never changing. So her path, her practice hasn't taken her into that truth. It's taken her to possibly the realization that not everything is as real as it seems to be in this world, but not ultimate truth. So a path like A Course in Miracles can be really helpful, because he's actually talking about the principles, and he's helping us to reflect on these ideas that are states of mind, really, that are beyond conception almost. Talking about peace and stillness, and how we correct our minds, how we let go of the blocks to that awareness, the awareness of that. This is what we're all here to do, and this is where the Course meets us. So yeah, there's absolute peace and joy, pure formless awareness, but it's how you get there from this often very dualistic place in your mind. How do you move into this deep peace? And that's really what he's training our minds to do.
It is difficult, though, isn't it? When you're lost in that kind of chaos. Actually, how to actually slow down and back.
Well, it starts with an awareness. Okay, I'm feeling lost. I'm feeling confused, and I need to do something about it. And then the willingness to actually do it, and that might just involve simple practice of meditation. Sitting quietly and watching your breath for a few minutes is a good start. So really, spiritual practices are designed to resolve that conundrum. What do I actually do? How do I get out of all the mind chatter? Well, it starts with some awareness, an awareness that yes, I have a problem, and I want a resolution. That's the start, and then the how-to will come from that. Okay, well, how do I do this? Then, if you set your intention correctly, then it's going to happen.
So does your client have that awareness, Sally?
No, as it seems at the moment, she just shut herself in the bedroom and hasn't come out for months, and just in this crazy busy mind thing. But so far I just said about being still and just noticing the thoughts. But it's how to cultivate the awareness with someone, isn't it? She's come to me for a reason, to teach me something, I see it. How to work with somebody so lost. Yeah.
You need to start with something really simple. So something like just breath awareness. So you sit with her and just teach her 5 minutes. Get her to sit for a few minutes and just breathe and watch her breath. Start there. Because that's fundamental to any kind of relaxation meditation practice. And she might find it difficult, but that's the start. You say, okay, well, let's try do 5 minutes together, and you just kind of guide her in there and say to her, just observe the breath, focus on the breath flowing into the nostrils and the breath flowing out of the nostrils, and the sensation, and that's the start.
And being in your presence, Sally, is also helpful, isn't it?
Oh.
She won't actually be in my presence because she's locked herself in the bedroom. But I think from a distance, there's no distance, is there? So just holding space with her, even if it's online. And I think her just reaching out speaks volumes.
Mm.
Just emailing me and saying, I don't know what to say, but, so, we've taken the first step maybe.
Mm. Yeah. So I would just try introducing her gently to this, breath watching, just to start the sessions. Okay, well, let's just be quiet, breathe, observe the breath. Maybe do a few minutes of that, and maybe you want to move into your clearing process. That's up to you. Basic, just very, very basic stuff, baby steps. And then you could say to her after the 5-minute breath watching meditation, how did that feel? Did you feel a little bit calmer, a little bit more peaceful? And if she says yes, then you have a reference experience. Okay, so you felt a bit of peace. That's good. So do you think maybe you could just sit quietly for 10 minutes a day and just feel that peace and just do the same thing? And what you want to try and get her to do is just to start committing to something, some kind of practice. 10 minutes a day, start with. Okay, just sit and watch your breath for 10 minutes a day. Surely you can do that. So you probably say, yeah, well, it sounds like she's not working or anything, so you're locked in a room. She's got the time.
It's quite funny, really, isn't it? She's got the time to do the work. Yes, she has.
Yeah, but she's got resistance to doing it as well. So
Yeah.
this is, you as a teacher and healer need to find a way to, with the guidance, you just ask the Holy Spirit for guidance always. It'll guide you to, what's truly helpful. I think that's a good prayer. What's truly helpful for this person?
Exactly what I asked this morning when she asked me. Exactly what I was asking. I was just waiting for the words and then typed.
Yeah. And then if you're genuine in that request, it'll come. You'll get guidance on it in whatever way, shape, or form.
Thank you. Yeah.
Pleasure. Yeah. So simple baby steps. Try simple stuff. Start, and you can get her into that. Then you can build on that. It's foundations. If you throw her in the deep end with, say, a 10-step letting go process straight away, she's probably it's not going to cope with that. So just some basic breath watching. It might be a good start.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So John, if you want to read the next one, these dualistic subject-object thoughts.
And these dualistic subject-object thoughts are what Eckhart refers to as mental noise, designed by your ego mind to obscure the truth that pure formless awareness or presence in your natural state of mind and the only state in which you can be truly happy.
Okay, any thoughts on that?
Now I think that's clear, presenting the idea of mental noise.
The only purpose of the ego mind is to obscure the truth. Pure formless awareness, or this presence, what Eckhart Tolle calls presence, is the same thing. Awareness is your natural state of mind, and this is the only state in which you can be truly happy. So the ego is going to try and cover that over, give you all kinds of other goals that actually violate your natural state of mind and ultimately make you unhappy. Okay, so dualistic subject-object thoughts you want to be letting go of and going into just an awareness, just pure formless awareness. It's awareness of awareness. You're aware of something. You're aware of a presence that you have life, you exist, but it's not connected to anything in this world. Okay, so I'll share this because it's really my personal experience. So, 10-day silent retreat, the Vipassana meditation retreat that I did in 2021. On day 9, after doing a lot of meditation, maybe 12 hours a day, and it's quite grueling because they ask you to sit cross-legged, and some sessions you're in a hall and they say, don't move for an hour, which I did manage to do actually quite a lot. So and we weren't allowed to speak. And I just got to a point on day 9 when I was really physically tired. My body was sore. They'd said, look, don't, in your proper meditation time, don't lie down. But something in me was just lie down on your bed and just relax for a few moments. And that was really the catalyst for this, pretty profound spiritual experience that I had. I think it was a contrast between intense discipline so just went into this state of presence. There was no thought, just for a few moments, just lying there, and all I could describe it as afterwards was pure formless awareness. There was no subject-object thought. It was just there for, who knows, it wasn't very long, I don't think. Maybe a minute, maybe less, maybe more. And this was the intense presence that Eckhart calls it, or Yeshua calls it, a holy instant, where you're just totally in the now and you are wholly aware. It's a wholly aware instant. I was aware of this presence, probably, the most intense awareness I've ever had of that presence in my life for a minute or two. It was all conscious thought and sense of time dropped away, and I was merely aware that I was aware. There was something going on. I wasn't asleep, but there was no conscious thought, and didn't last very long. Came out of that state, and immediately this same awareness, which we call the Holy Spirit, actually just came in and interpreted the experience for me. And in that moment, like really viscerally, I suddenly understood more clearly than I'd ever done before that I'd invented the world. It was very personal. I invented this place. I get it. To justify the unhappy and meaningless thoughts that are really just covering over this pure formless awareness. That's the only thing of any real value. It's everything I truly wanted. Eternal love, peace, joy, happiness was actually contained in this awareness. And I experienced very viscerally. It was quite strong, powerful emotion of like, wow, this is what I've done. And it was sad, because I was like, how could I have done this? There's this pristine awareness, pure formless awareness that's there. I've experienced it, and it's beautiful, and it's whole, and it's complete, and yet I preferred an illusion to that. Illusion of a separate self, and everything it entails, the world that's been invented. And it was just so sad. But I really got it. I understood in that moment what they mean by the veil of illusion covering the truth. That all the teachers like Yeshua have taught us. And I experienced it. So in that few minutes, it was like a download. I felt like the whole Course in Miracles had kind of landed, and I actually experientially, literally understood it in a way I hadn't before. So I remember that 5 minutes, 10 minutes experience, whatever it was, for the rest of my life, because it was the closest I've ever come to that presence. It was a direct experience of it for that short time. And that, from that one experience, really deep insight into the nature and purpose of the dream world, the idea of pure formless awareness came to me. I think that was really the starting point for the reinterpretation of the entire course, the translation. I think if it weren't for that so-called mystic experience I had, I wouldn't be doing it now like we wouldn't be doing it now like we are doing it. Maybe just be doing reading the standard text. But after that, it was pretty clear to me that it needs some practice to maintain the state. So the deep insight was amazing, and then it was okay. So this present, this pure formless awareness, how do you cultivate that? And, very soon after that, we went into the next Art of Letting Go course, and then the 1-year program. That's when John joined, and so that experience, spiritually, was really the launch pad for what's now taking place. All happened in that 5 minutes. So this is what happens with a profound sort of mystic experience. You can, in a few moments, completely change your life. Which was my experience. So yeah, I mean, I can't. It's difficult to describe these experiences, but hopefully, my experience will motivate you to continue on this path, because you just never know when a profound experience like that is going to come for you. You practice and you practice, and you do what you need to do, and then go. Okay, John's going to go. So
what stood out for me when you were telling that is that you didn't follow the rules. You broke them by doing what you knew was right for you. You followed your guidance.
Yeah.
You got your own experience that probably wouldn't have happened if you followed the rigid
rules. No, if I'd gone, no, I can't do this, because the teacher says I can't, and I've got to carry on suffering, basically, because it was so, oh God, more cross-legged meditation. It's like pain in the body. So when I was actually just willing to go, okay, I'm just gonna really let it all go. Let me just close this, because we've got rubbish being collected outside. So yeah, being willing to go out of, even though the Vipassana was a helpful practice, I think the danger with any practice like that is that you can get too much in. It all becomes about the practice, and so it's you focus on the means and not on the end. The end is presence, pure formless awareness, and the practice is a means. If you lose sight of that, you can get, really, it's just another distraction. The practice becomes a goal unto itself. And I did have a sense of that, I must say. I was speaking to this teacher who'd been doing it for 25 years. I felt like, she's just got the practice has become her life. She's got addicted to the practice and has forgotten that the purpose of the practice is to reveal God, to reveal pure formless awareness. And so now it just becomes another ritual or a routine, and let's do another 30-day Vipassana or another 60-day Vipassana. Well, why are you doing it? Is that really going to reveal presence to you, or is it just, this is what I'm so used to doing, and now I've got an identity around it because she's the Vipassana master, because she's done so much of it. And in fact, this was what Buddha. The Vipassana is based on the Buddha's original meditation practice. He gave that in response to some of the dysfunctions that were happening in his time. So somehow Hinduism had lost its way a bit, and he knew this because he tried it. He tried the various meditation techniques, and he'd been to many teachers, and he'd a lot of ascetic practices that are very harsh on the body, to the point where he nearly died. His body was really frail. So he hadn't eaten anything for years. I think he'd been living on like 1 grain of rice, which is just ridiculous. Like why even bother with 1 grain? But that's And so he realized that these ascetic practices weren't actually going to work. They weren't delivering him to, what he was really looking for. So he let go of all of that. So when he let go of that, finally under the bo tree, and he went, I can actually stop trying and striving. That's when he got it. So it's a paradox, because any spiritual teaching, and Yeshua's saying, look, practice, but the practice is just so that you can be open to the presence, open yourself more and more to it. Don't let the practice become a bondage. And listen to guidance. So in that moment, it was just like, what, just lie down. It was like, just lie down and just let it all go and relax. And so let go of all practices, and then the presence just arose, because I was ready for it. So a good lesson. Don't get addicted to any practice, because the presence is beyond all practice. We practice to, allow this experience, but don't get addicted to the practice. No. So it's kind of a paradox, isn't it? Because you're like, well, the practice is helpful, and you need to be vigilant. Like, yeah, this is helping me. Is it connecting me with presence, or has it become another fetter, as they call it in Buddhism, another bondage that's actually stopping me from going to presence? And if that's the case, then you need to change the practice. Doesn't mean you need to abandon it necessarily, but shake it up a bit, change it. Don't do it for a day, whatever. Just switch it around so that you go back into presence, because that's the whole point. And then that presence will also guide you as to what you should be doing, how you can experience it more greatly. So that I certainly did get guidance. I mean, I was tired, and it was just like something was just lie down, it's okay, just go. And I just lay down and was like, whoa, off I went, and it's like, oh, that's just so amazing. That's so beautiful. And the whole retreat really was memorable. The most memorable moment was that moment. All the meditation was just to prepare me for that, really. So you never know. I mean, you keep practicing, because you never know when an experience like that is around the corner, and you're ready. Yeah, sure. There's a parable he told where he said, you need to be like the women who have their wicks trimmed and they have oil, because then they'll have light to be able to see the coming of the master or something. And so he's saying, be ready, be ready and aware, and your practice can help you, to be in a state of readiness. But remember, the practice is just a means to connect with the presence. That's the real end. That's the purpose of it. So presence, other words for it are grace. Yeshua also calls it grace in A Course in Miracles, and he calls it revelation. You have a state in which your mind is only aware of pure formless awareness, has no awareness of this world of time and space at all. That could be called a revelation. So I suppose I had a few moments of revelation. Really, I wasn't aware of this world at all in that time. It just dropped away, and I was just in this pure formless awareness. So revelation, grace, these are just pointers to this transcendent state that transcends time and space.
I get these moments sometimes when I've been doing a practice for a while, and I've been very diligent over doing whatever it is, and then just suddenly I have a wake up moment. I suddenly go, what am I doing? And then I just it suddenly seems very ridiculous what I'm doing, and then I let it all go and I start some other level of work. I wouldn't call it a revelation maybe, but it's a sort of suddenly awakening to I got kind of lost in the practice of it, and then to look at it and go, oh, really? Now step back out of that.
Yeah, which is good, because any practice, it's not the end goal. It's just the means. So yeah, I've also been through many different practices, and one of the key things is to know when to let go and move on. So okay, well that served me, and now I've got an invitation to move on to something else. And you won't necessarily move on from A Course in Miracles ever, because it is the truth. But the way you practice it might evolve and become quite different over time. And just be open to the guidance and to flowing with it.
Yeah, it's a nice idea to think this is like the end of the searching, that this is the truth, and in whatever form I'm practicing it, it will be what it is always, that I won't move above it or beyond it. This is it.
Well, what I found is my practice of the Course just has evolved over 16 years. It's changed quite a lot. So how I do it pretty radically, actually. So it's been evolving, even though I haven't really moved from the actual book. The way I practiced it, the way I've interpreted it and experienced it is very different. So then you're evolving. You don't need to look anywhere else. The truth is there. You'll just start to go deeper into it, have a deeper experience of this presence through the same teaching. So you might read the same words you read 10 years ago, and yet it's a different experience today, because you're more open, more willing to learn. Some of the blocks have been let go of. And what the amazing thing that I also find about it is that it's still fresh. Okay, so I've read this book a number of times, done the lessons over and over, and yet you can do a lesson and not go, oh well, that's boring. I know that one. That's not how it works. So it's always fresh. It's experientially fresh, and the way you practice might be different in time. Over time, it can evolve. But as the foundational teaching, it is the truth. So how can you move on from the truth? Maybe you don't even need the Course anymore. Someone you're like, well, yeah, I've used that really to correct my mind, and I'm healed, and I'm living in this enlightened state, and I don't need to study the text and the workbook as much as I used to. It's because it's just there. I already understand it. But that's kind of the end goal. That's the state of achievement. He calls it stage 6. There's often a lot of unwinding work needs to be done before that. So you'll know. There's an intuitive knowing when it's the right time to move on to another stage. You'll be given the guidance. The Holy Spirit's going to guide you. The Holy Spirit's not attached to any practice. It's not attached to A Course in Miracles or any kind of ritual or routine at all. Its only objective is to help you restore your mind back to oneness. It's just help you use whatever's most helpful at the time. So what served you 5 years ago may not serve you now. And it's going to give you the guidance to that effect. It's one of the biggest mistakes when people get stuck in the same practice and they've been doing it for years and years and years. It's how religions develop. It's like, okay, we just keep the rituals there and we just keep repeating it, and there's no room for really growth to something else, and to say, okay, we're going to let go of that now because it doesn't suit me, and one size doesn't necessarily fit all. So what might be right for you isn't necessarily right for someone else at their stage of evolvement, because they need to go through the stages of awakening. So you might say, I'm ready to really let it all go, and I need do nothing, just surrender in to that and not really have to worry about doing too much. And another person might need a lot of training and perception, and they need to apply it in action in their daily lives over and over for many years before they can get to the point where they're really willing to let it all go. Okay, so that's some thoughts on it's a paradox, isn't it? The practice versus presence. And if we're already in presence, it's already our truth, then why do we need to practice? Well, ultimately, you don't. If you're fully rooted in truth, but there's a part of our minds that isn't. So then practice is necessary to restore our minds to the knowing that, this is who we are, even though we already are that. So it's a paradox, just like forgiveness is a paradox. But practicing intelligently with guidance is the resolution of the paradox. So you don't get obsessive about the practice. You're open to guidance. If it feels right to do it, you do it. But if something else comes in, you go, okay, well, I'll listen to the guidance. And you've got to be very careful. Is that your ego? Is it the Holy Spirit? Because it can get, the ego is always going to try and hijack your mind, and it's going to convince you that it's the truth. It's really the voice you should be listening to. So you need to have some discernment. But the more you practice, the more discernment you do have. Okay, so then there's the bonus discussion, which we won't go into. Some good stuff there. Was this was the session you were listening to, was it? With John talking about golf?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay, interesting. So was it just a recording in Telegram?
It was the podcast one on Saturday's Telegram message.
Okay.
So I realised it was an old one, but
yes. Okay.
it was obviously meant for me to listen to.
Yeah, it obviously was. So it might have been this session, because I think I linked it in the Telegram message. I linked my Life Builder podcast to this. But anyway, it doesn't matter where it was. It's a recording, and you got benefit from it. So all good. Okay. So let's have a lesson, shall we?
So into his presence would I enter now. Into perfect love's presence would I enter now.
So let me just bring up. I've already done some translation for you. Do you need me to make that a bit bigger?
Yeah, a wee bit.
Zoom in there. So Iona and I have decided that 125%, 25% is a wee bit.
Yeah. Okay. Into his presence would I enter now. Into perfect love's presence would I enter now. This is a day of silence and of trust. It is a special time of promise in our calendar of days. It is the time heaven has set apart to shine upon and cast a timeless light upon this day, and then echoes of eternity are heard. This day is holy, for it ushers in a new experience, a different kind of feeling and awareness. You have spent long days and nights in celebrating death. Today you learn to feel the joy of life.
Okay. So let's go through it, translate, and then just unpack it as you go. Any thoughts?
Is this, if you started lesson 1 on the 1st of January, would this lead you to a special day, or is it just every day special? Are we talking Easter here, or what are we talking about?
No. It's got nothing to do with specialness on the level of form.
Okay, right here.
So he says a special time because he's saying today is the day when you can really connect with his presence. But he does this quite a lot. There's many times in the course that, well, today, you will. It's like, okay, well, because right now, I mean, when else is it but right now? So you can kind of go, well, every day is. How can every day be special? But it is if you really follow the lesson and you connect with Source, and that's a pretty amazing experience that awaits you. He's using the language to try and bring us fully into the now and go, actually this is pretty amazing. It's happening. I'm not waiting for some special time in the future. It's now, right here and right now.
That answers a question, because the times I've read it thinking, oh, am I on a different day to everyone else type thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Day 157, I don't know where you'd be. You'd be about what's that? 3 months would be about 4 months almost. 4 months into it, so it'd be somewhere around the end of April. If you started on the 1st, which could be Easter, but Easter's variable. Easter could be at the beginning of April, it could be middle of April, end of April. Sometimes Easter's in March, so there's no correlation. Sometimes he mentions like Eastertide or Christmas. Then it's because at that time he was giving the dictation to Helen. It was that time of the year, so then he brings it into the teaching.
I see. Okay. Right. Alternatively, this is a day of silence and of trust, special time of promise in your calendar of days. It is the time the state of pure formless awareness has set apart to shine upon and cast a timeless light upon this day when echoes of eternity are heard.
A timeless light, maybe we change that to awareness. Cast a timeless awareness upon this day. So give you a timeless awareness. Give you a timeless awareness of this day when echoes of eternity are heard.
Okay, this day is wholly aware, for it ushers in a new experience, a different kind of feeling and awareness. You have spent long days and nights in celebrating death. Today you learn to feel the joy of life.
I'd say maybe we need to just change that. So this day, today, this day, you are wholly aware. You are wholly aware today. How about this day? You're wholly aware this day. For today ushers in a new experience, a different kind of feeling and awareness. Spent long days and nights in celebrating death. Today you learn to feel the joy of life. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to read that from the top? Let's make sure we're okay with the translation.
This is the day of silence and trust. It is a special time of promise in your calendar of days. It is the time the state of pure formless awareness is set apart to shine upon and give you a timeless awareness of this day when echoes of eternity are heard. You are wholly aware this day, for today ushers in a new experience, a different kind of feeling and awareness. You have spent long days and nights in celebrating death. Today you learn to feel the joy of life.
Yeah, so nice opening, calling us to a different kind of experience, different kind of feeling and awareness beyond the delusion of death. Long days and nights and celebrating death. Today you learn to feel the joy of life. Opening us into that experience from the first paragraph. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just timeless awareness of today to feel joy.
And timelessness and joy are inextricably linked. You can't really experience, you cannot experience joy in past and future. It's not possible. You only anticipate. Your anticipation is like, oh, when I get there, then I'll have joy. But it's always deferred. It's always in the future. Or the past is kind of a nostalgia of, oh, yeah, but remember when we did that? oh, that was such an amazing experience.
Mhm.
But actually, you're not in that joy then. You know, it's just a shadow. It's a shadow. Even if it was an amazing experience, the memory of it is just a shadow of the direct experience of joy. And what you're actually doing is blocking that experience of joy right now from arising in the present moment. So you just can't. You can't. If you're honest with yourself, you look to your own life experience. You cannot experience joy in the past or the future.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, so happy with number one.
Yeah.
So number two then.
This is another crucial turning point in the curriculum. We add a new dimension now, a fresh experience that sheds a light on all that we have learned already and prepares us for what we have yet to learn. It brings us to the door where learning ceases, and we catch a glimpse of what lies past the highest reaches it can possibly attain. It leaves us here an instant, and we go beyond it, sure of our direction and our only goal.
Yeah.
When it says a new dimension,
Yeah, let's go through it and translate and discuss. It's another crucial turning point in the curriculum. Okay, so saying this is something to take note of. Turning point, you're turning away from the ego, turning towards the light. In your curriculum, we add a new dimension now, a fresh experience. So it's experiential. Sheds a light on all that we have learned already. Prepares us for what we have yet to learn. Sheds a light, sheds awareness. Fresh experience that gives us true awareness. True awareness of all that we have learned already. Prepares us for what we have yet to learn. Okay, question on that?
so when it's talking about a new dimension, it's talking about just deeper awareness, the true awareness, rather than ego awareness.
Yeah. A fresh experience of the presence. Into the presence I would enter now. It's experiential awareness of this presence. And this gives us true awareness of all that we have learned already. It prepares us for what we have yet to learn. So, take that mystic experience I had. That it really was a new dimension. It was like, oh, actually, I'm seeing. It was a fresh experience. And then from that perspective, I had much more insight on all that I'd learned already. It's like, okay, I really get it now, experientially, viscerally. It's like an experiential understanding on a level that I couldn't understand it before.
So after you'd had that, you didn't go back to your old learning. It took you to another dimension where you viewed everything slightly differently.
Yeah, I mean, the old stuff was a good foundation because I'd been studying the course but it's like an understanding, it's an interpretation of it, isn't it? And what that was a catalyst for was this kind of translation that we're doing now into another language and the idea of pure, God is pure formless awareness. Because I thought about it often, it's like, well, how would I describe that experience? If that was God, how would I put words to that? All I could really come up with was pure formless awareness. Okay, well, that's all it is then. It's pure formless awareness. And then because love is involved, added in later, it's a pure formless awareness of perfect love. So you've got five powerful pointer words to the state of mind that's the ultimate truth in that name, which we use to substitute for God. The name itself gives you access to the state of mind, which is how it should be. God is a pointer. I don't think for many people is a good pointer. It doesn't give them access to a transcendent state of mind at all. It's more likely to bring up a concept of some kind of God outside of you, religious God with fearful overtones, brings in past conditioning around, learning about a fearful, wrathful, vengeful God. So it's not that helpful a pointer to take you into a deep mystic experience of His presence. Whereas pure formless awareness, it's not a common term. A lot of people wouldn't have heard of it. So there's a freshness to it. And it's describing what the state of awareness actually is. It's pure, it's formless. There's no awareness of any other form. So there's no duality. It's not an awareness of me and another. I, think this about someone or something. That all just drops away, and you recognize in the moment it's just pure awareness as it is before any subject object thought came in. And it's so lovely, so beautiful in our experience that adds it. When we have this experience, we say it's another crucial turning point. We are changed forever. That one, simple experience, I'll remember it for the rest of my life. And it has, I was heading in the right direction anyway, but it's certainly refined. It's put me on a slightly different track and a deeper experience of this. And I may well not be doing, we may not be doing the program as we currently are, with, the translations and so on, if it hadn't been for that experience. It was really the catalyst to say, okay, so there's, go beyond your current understanding and just experientially see the truth. Because once you experientially see it, know it, it's a different level of understanding, isn't it? You've experienced it. So the only qualification to be a mystic is that you've had a personal experience of this, usually quite a deep, profound one that really made an impact. That's the only qualification. It's not book learning. It's not someone else's experience. It's your own experience that shows you, something profound. And then usually people try and put these things into words, but you don't have to. You can just be it and speak it, and it's getting out there. Okay, so any other thoughts on number 2? Do you want to give a little summary of number 2?
So just the end bit where it says our only goal, if you were to put that into a word, what would that be? Are we talking oneness, inner peace, awareness, true awareness? Is it all of it? Is it a particular word is the goal?
Sure of our direction, our only goal. Well, there's a number of words you can use for that goal. At one-ment is one of those words. It's a process as well as an end state of being at one with your source and everything that the source created or extended. It can be called awakening. You're awakening from the dream of limited awareness of pain and suffering. So that's the highest reaches it can possibly attain. Sure of our direction, our only goal. It's the ultimate transcendent reality. That's our goal. And then our goal here in this world is to simply stay connected to that. So though we continue to operate in time and space, our goal is never to disconnect from it, to stay in the presence and let it guide us continuously while we seem to be walking in the world.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that.
So the means is stay connected while you're here, and the end is, ultimate transcending of this world.
Okay.
All right, happy to move to number 3.
Yep. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm ready, but I'm not ready to read. Today it will be given to you to feel a touch of heaven, though you will return to paths of learning. Yet you have come far enough along the way to alter time sufficiently to rise above its laws and walk into eternity a while. This you'll learn to do increasingly as every lesson, faithfully rehearsed, brings you more swiftly to this holy place and leaves you for a moment to yourself. It's nice.
Yeah.
I love it in meditations when you go, we're going to have a minute's silence or whatever your terminology is. And I go, oh, yes, a minute's silence. I mean, how ridiculous is that I have to use you to hold space for me to go into a minute's silence or 2 minutes silence. And I get so excited and I so look forward to it. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, I can choose any amount.
Any moment. Yeah. Interesting. It's just because there's a structure to it, and your mind gives you permission. Oh, okay, now meditate. It's okay just to be silent for a couple of minutes. It's part of the part of the practice. But if you don't have the kind of ritual of the meditation, then often people just can't do it. Just to sit still and be quiet. To say, well, what am I doing? I'm wasting time. You know, it's like this is I need to be doing stuff. So that's the beauty of a practice. If you go, okay, I have a bit of a ritual around it. You know, at a set time in the day, you arrive into the Zoom room and you give yourself permission to go. Okay, yes, I can spend 20 minutes in a meditation because that's part of the practice. And yes, we have this silence, and you've also had a lead in. So you've had a chance to like quiet your mind and do some breathing and prepare yourself to then just kind of dive in deeper. Whereas if you just go, okay, I'm going to have a minute's silence, and you've just been thinking about whatever you're thinking about on this level, it's not that easy necessarily just to switch your mind off and drop into total silence. So the meditation prepares you for it.
And then when I'm in that silence, I'm just not aware of anything there for a little while. And then suddenly I kind of wake up and go, where am I? What am I doing? You know, suddenly realize the laptop's next to me and that. But it's easier to do definitely in your meditations than it is to say, right, I'm now gonna have a minute's silence. It doesn't always happen.
Yeah, well, this is why it gives the structure for it, doesn't it? It's saying, okay, we'll do twice a day, do a longer session where you're doing at least 5 minutes. Preferably longer, and then have the frequent top-ups. So that the practice gives you some structure to it, to say, okay, I'm bringing presence in a structured way into my life, and I'm giving myself permission to experience this presence in this structured time. Otherwise, it's very easy just not to. You don't make any time for it, and you're just busy. And the end of the day comes, and you've realized you've just been busy the whole time. Your mind's been spinning around, and it's actually quite tiring. You feel tired and exhausted. So the practice just really entrenches the structure that he's given us, entrenches the practices. So you're doing them regularly. So you open your mind in each moment. You know, when you're meditating, you're doing the longer ones or the short ones. You're opening your mind to the presence. You say, okay, I'm open to this. I'm giving myself permission because it's a practice, and I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm giving myself the permission to experience this deep presence. So that's that's the benefit of some kind of so-called formal spiritual practice, because you create the structures that support this kind of deep inner experience. Again, paradox, because you go, well, I'm already there, but the practice of it is that unless you're practicing consciously, doing these spiritual practices, it's not likely to come. And occasionally, there are people who have spontaneous awakenings. It can happen. You never know. But by and large, the majority, if they're not doing spiritual practice, they just remain asleep their entire life, and they never get anything. There's no insight coming in. So the practice now allows the insights start coming in, and the deeper realizations goes beyond insight. It's a deeper experiential realization and knowing who you are that this leads to. Okay, so any other questions on number 3?
No, shall I really read the translation?
Yeah.
Today it will be given you to feel a touch of the state of pure formless awareness, that you will return to paths of learning. Yet
We should just make it a touch of pure formless awareness. Might be simpler. It sounds neater, doesn't it, than the state of.
Yeah. Today it will be given you to feel a touch of pure formless awareness, though you will return to paths of learning. Yet you have come far enough along the way to alter time sufficiently to rise above its laws and walk into eternity a while. This you'll learn to do increasingly as each lesson, faithfully rehearsed, brings you more swiftly to this wholly aware place and leaves you for a moment to yourself. Yeah. So when it says, though you will return to paths of learning, it means you slip up and you'll keep having to relearn it a few times.
So what he's talking about here is an experience. So mystic experience goes beyond any kind of learning as we would class it. It's just a pure experience. So he's opening the way here, to these deeper mystic experiences. The first part of the course is just a mind training and perception. Nothing I see means anything. He's not talking about mystic experiences there, but as he progresses, these lessons, we're now sort of almost midway through the workbook. He's saying, okay, let's open into a deeper experience of this truth, because you've done the groundwork of correcting perception. So now you can enjoy the benefits of being able to rise above the laws of time and space and walk into eternity. And this is the new dimension that he's talking about, experiential dimension. So you go beyond just intellectual understanding to experience. And then he says, but you might have this experience today, but you will return to paths of learning. So there'll still be stuff you need to learn and understand. And so, we continue with the course tomorrow, and there's more lessons, and there's more unwinding, more understanding. But you have come far along the way far enough to alter time sufficiently to rise above its laws and walk into eternity for a while. So this is what he's inviting us to do. Just go into the mystic experience that transcends time and space, which we call presence or grace or revelation. Open your mind to that and allow it to happen. Today and every day. You don't just have to wait for one day. So once you've now set this, if you have a deeper mystic experience today, then you're more likely to have one tomorrow. Because every time you meditate, every time you practice the lesson, you're opening yourself up to that kind of experience happening. Okay, so any other thoughts?
No, let's walk into eternity. When we practice it often enough, it will bring us more wholly aware.
Okay, so happy to. Do you want to give a summary of that, or happy to move on?
I just did, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the door now. I think my client's here, so I have to go now. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, Sunny. See you tomorrow. So let's finish this. He will direct your practicing today. What you ask for now is what it wills. Yeah, so yourself is going to direct your practicing, higher self, Christ, and it will direct your practicing for today. What you ask for now is what it wills. And join your will with its this day. What you're asking must be given you. Nothing is needed but today's idea to light your mind and let it rest in still anticipation and in quiet joy, wherein you quickly leave the world behind. Now, so just to light your mind, or awaken, to awaken your mind. And let it rest in still anticipation and quiet joy. Still anticipation and quiet joy, wherein you quickly leave the world behind. In which you quickly leave. And you say, keep wherein you quickly leave the world behind. So what is he saying there? This is about experience. It's going to direct your practicing. You should change your will. Now is what it wills. And join your will. It's this day what you're asking must be given you. Is needed but today's idea to awaken your mind. Let it rest in still anticipation and quiet joy, wherein you quickly leave the world behind. So we can completely leave the world behind, asking us to go into a deeper experience of truth. And we can awaken from the dream of form through this experience. So from this day forth, the ministry takes on a genuine devotion, and the glow that travels from your fingertips to those you touch and blesses those you look upon. The vision reaches everyone you meet and everyone you think of or who thinks of you. Your experience today will so transform your mind that it becomes the touchstone for the holy thoughts of God. From this day forth, your ministry is really your teaching. Teaching takes on a genuine devotion, and the glow that travels from your fingertips to those you touch and blesses those you look upon. Some lovely poetic words, blesses those you look upon. A vision reaches everyone you meet and everyone you think of or who thinks of you. Your experience today will so transform your mind that it becomes the touchstone for the wholly aware thoughts, holy thoughts of God, the wholly aware thoughts of pure thoughts, pure formless thoughts of perfect love. So how do we translate that? For your experience today will so transform your mind, becomes a touchstone for the wholly aware thoughts of perfect love. Your body will be sanctified today. Its only purpose. So when you read that from this day forth, your teaching takes on a genuine devotion, and the glow that travels from your fingertips to those you touch and blesses those you look upon. The vision reaches everyone you meet and everyone you think of or who thinks of you. Your experience today will so transform your mind that it becomes the touchstone for the wholly aware thoughts of perfect love. Becomes the touchstone. So transform your mind. So look at what touchstone means. Touchstone. Fundamental or quintessential part or feature. Basis. Touchstone. Form of that decade now considered touchstone of the city's life. Fundamental, quintessential part, feature. Okay, so that's what a touchstone is. Becomes the experience today will so transform your awareness that it becomes the essence. Touchstone is the essence, quintessential feature, quintessential part. I think foundation might be better, because of foundation for wholly aware thoughts of perfect love. So that experience becomes a foundation for the thoughts. And in my experience, that's exactly what happened. A mystic experience, it really becomes a reference point for future for all thoughts. And your thoughts do change. You still think, but these are thoughts now being directed by this pure formless awareness. Maybe we can make it the wholly aware thoughts of formless awareness. So Pure formless awareness can only, by definition, pure formless awareness, have a wholly aware thoughts. And those thoughts now become your thoughts. So the mystic experience is a catalyst for great spiritual growth, and it becomes a foundation of a new thought system you can adopt. So your body will be sanctified today. Its only purpose being now to bring the vision of what you experience this day to light the world. You cannot give experience like this directly, yet it leaves a vision in our eyes which we can offer everyone, that he may come the sooner to the same experience which the world has quietly forgot. The state of pure formless awareness is remembered for a while. Bring the vision of what you experience this day to experience the state to light the world, to awaken the world. I think. Like your experience like this directly. It leaves a vision in our eyes which we can offer everyone. So it's our own experience. That's really what a mystic experience is. There's a vision in our eyes which we can offer everyone. So that he, so switch the tense there, so that they may come sooner. The same experience which the world is quietly forgotten. The state of pure formless awareness is remembered for a while. Vision in our eyes, not really about eyes. These are vision in our awareness. So this mystic experience becomes the basis for future vision, the correction of perception, and we can offer that to everyone. So they can offer everyone. I like to help them. So to help them come sooner to the experience. As the world is quietly forgotten, the state of pure formless awareness is remembered for a while. Okay, so moving on. As this experience increases and all goals but this become a little worth, the world to which you will return becomes a little closer to the end of time. A little more like heaven in its ways, a little nearer its deliverance. And you, You bring it light, will come to see the light more sure, the vision more distinct. Time will come when you will not return in the same form in which you now appear, for you will have no need of it. But now it has a purpose and will serve it well. So as this experience increases and all goals but this come of little worth, all goals this become of little worth, all to which your return becomes a little closer to the end of time, a little more like state of pure formless awareness in its ways, a little nearer its deliverance. And you who bring it light will come to see the light more sure. Bring it light as true awareness. You cultivate true awareness. Practice. You practice true awareness. In the world, come to see the light more sure, the vision more distinct. See the truth more surely, the vision more distinct. Time will come when you will not return in the same form which you now appear, for you will have no need of it. Yet now, it has a purpose and will serve it well. So right now it has a purpose and it will serve it well. This experience increases in all goals, but this become of little worth to you. The world to which you'll return becomes a little closer to the end of time. A little more like the state of pure formless awareness in its ways, a little nearer to its deliverance. We practice true awareness of the world, brings us closer to the world's deliverance. We perceive the truth more surely, we have clearer vision, so we're able to see the world in time and space. more clearly. A time will come when you'll not return in the same form which you now appear. In other words, the body, yet now it has a purpose and will serve it well. So your purpose while you're still in the body is to correct your perception, bring true awareness into the world, and systematically, progressively undo your ego mind, being your belief in separation. So moving on to number 8. Today we will embark upon a course you have not dreamed of. The Holy One, the giver of the happy dreams of life, translated perception into truth, the holy guide to heaven given you, has dreamed for you this journey which you make and start today with the experience this day holds out to you to be your own. Today we will embark upon a course you have not dreamed of, but the Holy Aware One, giver of the happy dreams of life, translated perception into truth. I have not dreamed of this course because dreams deny the truth, but the Holy Aware One, the Holy One, giver of the happy dreams of life, translated perception into truth, the Holy Aware Guide to the state of pure formless awareness. So now I'm talking about experience, right, to the state of pure formless awareness. Dream for you this journey which you make and start today, where the experience this day holds out to you to be your own. So he's talking about experience, an experiential understanding of truth. Today we'll embark upon a course you have not dreamed of, the Holy Aware One, so the Holy Spirit, the giver of the happy dreams of life, translated perception into truth, a Holy Aware Guide to the state of pure formless awareness that has been given you, has dreamed for you this journey which you make and start today. The experience this day holds out to you to be your own. So, setting the scene, saying there's an experience waiting for us, and then last paragraph asks us to go into that experience. So, into Christ's presence will we enter now. So, really unaware of everything except His shining face and perfect love. Vision of His face will stay with you, but there will be an instant which transcends all vision, even this, the holiest. This you will never teach, for you attained it not through learning. The vision speaks of your remembrance of what you knew that instant, and will surely know again. Into your true self's presence we enter now. So really unaware of everything. So I'm going to make that personalized. You will enter now. Enter into your true self's presence now. Enter into your true self's presence now, serenely unaware of everything except its shining face and perfect love. vision of its face will stay with you. There will be an instant which transcends all vision. You will enter into your true self's presence now. Serenely unaware of everything except its shining face and perfect love. Shining face and perfect love. Shining face except its true identity. Shining awareness. Shining awareness and perfect love. The vision of its face will stay with you, but there will be an instant which transcends all vision, even this the holiest. Purest, even this the vision of its awareness. I think experience might be better. Experience of its awareness. That's what it means. Stay with you, but there will be an instant which transcends all vision, even this the holiest. This you will never teach, for you attained it not through learning. You did not attain it. But the vision speaks of your remembrance of what you knew that instant, and will surely know again. The vision speaks of your remembrance of what you knew that instant. Surely know again. So you will enter into your true self's presence now, serenely unaware of everything except its shining awareness and perfect love. Experience of its awareness stay with you, but there will be an instant which transcends all vision, even this the holiest. This the holiest vision, the most transcendent. And that's the purest. So for you did not attain it through learning it, the vision speaks of the remembrance of what you knew that instant, and will surely know again. So in this holy instant, in the now, we come into an awareness of our true self. It's experiential. Experience the shining awareness, we experience the perfect love. So it's not attained through learning, it's a pure experience. We call it a mystic experience. And the vision of Christ, vision of our true self, helps us remember what we knew, remember the truth of who we are, and what we will know that instant, and will surely know again. So, very deep lesson, asking us to take it to another level really and go into a deep experience of the presence of God or love. Hope this lesson has helped you to do that, and that it will truly be another turning point in your practice. Take it to another level, the experiential level. So that's what we're moving into more and more in the workbook. So that brings us to the end of the session. We've done the lesson and done a meditation. So thanks for listening, and do join us again tonight at 8:30 p.m. UK time, 9:30 South African time for another meditation on the lesson, and we'll look at today's text reading, which is just three paragraphs, so quite a short one tonight. So I hope to catch you then, and thanks for listening. Namaste.